Associate Superintendent of Communications and Community Engagement for Cumberland County Schools. Welcome to Cumberland Family Academy's Coffee Conversations. This monthly show allows us to provide timely information to the families of our Cumberland County School students. During each episode, we discuss relevant topics and chat with district and community leaders who share important information with our viewers. In today's episode, we are celebrating the recent announcement of our 2023 Teacher and Beginning Teacher of the Year. We will hear their personal stories, what inspires them, and how they came to be premier professionals in the Cumberland County school system. So sit back, grab a cup of coffee, and join us for this enlightening conversation. I'm excited to introduce our 2023 Teacher of the Year, Mrs. Talicia Smith from Douglas Byrd Middle School, and our 2023 Beginning Teacher of the Year, Miss Tonya McGill from Morganton Road Elementary School. Welcome, ladies. We're so happy to have you this morning. Congratulations once again, ladies. We're just so thrilled to have both of you here today with us. So we just want to have a conversation with you. We're going to start off actually with Miss Smith, and then we're going to go to Miss McGill, but I'm really going to ask both of you the same question. What thoughts were going through your minds? You know, you were standing up there, we were at Embassy Suites, and you were wondering, you know, am I the winner? Am I not the winner? Maybe you already knew you were the winner. I don't know. But what were you thinking when your names were called as the winner of Teacher and Beginning Teacher of the Year? So we'll start out with Miss Smith.
I'll tell you what, it was surreal. Also, you have that moment where your name is called and you're like, oh, that's me, you know, and so it was very exciting. I'm going to tell myself I was sitting in church Sunday and my husband's actually a pastor. And I was like, I'm going to draft out a speech just in case, you know, but as my name was being called, it was down in my purse, so I had to wing it. But it was really exciting, and it's still kind of soaking it all in that this is happening, and just super excited about this opportunity.
Excellent. Congratulations again. All right, Miss McGill, what was running through your mind?
I too was surprised. I was standing there and I knew that was my name, but I was like, oh my gosh, what am I supposed to do? You know, like, so everything just vanished from my brain. And so something said, get it together, girl. They want you to go up there and speak. So then that's when I realized that, yeah, they called my name and you were the winner. So it was definitely a surprise for me.
Excellent. Well, we're very excited. I know that both of you are going to represent Cumberland County Schools very, very well. So we want to kind of dig into a little bit of your background, whatever you're comfortable sharing, but we'll start again with Miss Smith. Just this idea of becoming a teacher. Is that something that you always wanted to do? Just tell us a little bit about your educational journey and how you became a teacher in Cumberland County Schools.
It was something I always wanted to do, but it's not where I start off. So I knew, I would probably say from little girl, you know how you play school and you've got the teddy bears out and you're doing the school thing. And when I got ready to graduate from high school, my mom says, you're too smart. Teachers don't make enough money. What else do you want to do? And so I actually went to school for civil engineering, and I pursued that for a while. And then it just turned out in the course of time, left with my husband, who was military, and ended up working as a teacher's assistant in the Department of Defense schools. And it just kind of blossomed from then. I noticed then that, yes, this is what I want to do and where I want to be at. And it took me probably, I'd say 12 to 15 years to actually get fully certified as a teacher, because we continued to move. We had military stations and each state wanted something different. So I continued to start over and start over and start over. And then when we got to North Carolina, we were here long enough for me to get that credential. But all along the way, I was able to work in private schools, Department of Defense, working as a teacher assistant, and then eventually teaching high school and junior high school. And so it's been a journey. And so that makes this even sweeter to actually be here at this point.
All right. So Miss McGill, what's your journey? What has been your journey into the field of education?
Teaching is not what I thought I would be doing. My initial goal was to be a detective. I am a criminal justice major. So I kind of started off in the school system as a bus driver and working in the cafeteria. So that's where my journey began. And then I was a TA, and then I left the county because remember, my major is criminal justice. So I actually worked for the sheriff department. And so then I realized, no, this is not what I want to do. So then I came back to Cumberland County Schools, and as a TA or TAN or push-in, pull-out tutor. And then I was just like, I need to do more. I want to do more. And so then I decided to go back to Fayetteville State to get my degree in teaching. And so that's pretty much where my journey began.
All right, a very exciting journey, a rich history from both of you, just hearing about your journeys. Very exciting stuff. So now, just one of those typical questions that we have to ask when we're talking to premier professionals, wonderful teachers. When you think about your educational philosophy and just your philosophy as you think about education in general, specifically in a public school system such as Cumberland. So I want you to think about your educational philosophy and who has influenced that the most. Your educational philosophy here in 2022 in Cumberland County Schools, and who has influenced that the most. And we'll actually start with Ms. McGill this time. I'm going to switch it up a little bit, and then we'll have Ms. Smith give us response as well.
My goal is to change lives and to make a difference in lives, not just children lives, but also in adults lives. And I learned that from my grandmother. And so I am a server. I like to serve children. I like to serve all people. And so that's my general philosophy. And when I think about people that has influenced me through my career, I will have to say it was the wonderful teachers that I had the opportunity to work with, either as a TA or working in the cafeteria as a bus driver. We learn from each other. We're here for each other. We learn from each other. And I have pulled so many golden nuggets from them. And had I not pulled those nuggets from them, I would not be here today. So I definitely owe that credit to all the wonderful teachers that I had the opportunity to work with. It was a pleasure to work with them all.
That's amazing. And did your educational philosophy change any during COVID? Like, do you feel like you've evolved any, or did you pretty much stick with your philosophy that you have?
I'm just going at it a little harder. It stayed the same. I do want to make a difference, and I just got to do more. And so that's the only part that changed, the level that I'm going at it, if that makes sense.
Okay, that's awesome. All right, Mrs. Smith, when you think about your educational philosophy, and who has been the greatest influence on that?
I have to say, I was listening to Miss McGill. My great grandmother, her name was Ola Anders, and she actually stayed in the house that her mother was a slave in. So after slavery, the masters gave my great grandmother the house, and my great grandmother could not read very well. But when we would go to visit her, she made sure that we could read. So she would tell us, here's my mail, tell me what it says, and it was her goal to make sure that we had the skills that she didn't get. And so she was definitely a great influence, because it was always that, here's some money she would give us, I need you to count this out, or she would send us in the store, go pick this up for me. And what she was doing was checking to make sure that we were growing and learning the way that we needed to. So she's definitely been one of the biggest influences I've had. And then my grandmother, my great grandmother, and my grandmother was an educator. And even up until the time that she passed away, she was educating students. She was no longer in the school system, but my last memory of her is being at her house, and they're taking the kids on a field trip to her farm that's in the back of her house. And so all these elementary school kids around her in this very small town are there for their lesson on how to grow vegetables at my grandmother's house. And that's one of my fondest memories. So they were definitely big influences for me in the field of education.
All right, that is awesome. So, and we're glad that you're still here. When we think about the COVID season, we think about the global pandemic. I've been in the school system. My wife was a teacher at that time in the school system, and I think the entire nation understood how hard teachers work. And even during the pandemic, it wasn't one of those things where we were just sitting home collecting a paycheck, but we were working around the clock, and then blended learning and other things. And so my hat is really off to both of you for sticking it out and for all that you do every day, because it certainly matters. So when you think about your favorite thing about teaching, there are those who would say, hey, you get the summers off. I don't know. Is that really true? I don't know. But when you think about each of you, your favorite thing about teaching, I know that may be hard to narrow it down to one thing, but we'll start with Mrs. Smith and then go to Miss McGill to talk about what's your favorite thing about teaching?
I would say the people and that influence. I can't tell you the moments that we've had, students and myself, or other teachers and myself, or the custodian and myself, but just these moments that you have with people that you get to, see the value that's added to the whole world by our differences. And you also get to grow as an individual because of those differences. I always told my students that they make me a better teacher. So even though I am the teacher in the classroom, we actually teach each other. And so I would say that for me, that's my favorite part. The people are absolutely my favorite part of what we do, because again, we grow together. It's not oh, Ms. Smith is here or I'm here. It's we're growing together, and we're always in that process of learning. And so it would definitely be the people.
So my favorite thing about teaching would be when I see a student and they are proud of themselves, because students think they cannot do it. And then when they realize that they can do it, it's just a wonderful thing. And so that would be the thing that this does my heart. So I guess my heart makes my heart happy. I would say when they realize that they can do it and they do it and they're proud of themselves. So that's what I would say.
Yes, and that just the connections that you make on a daily basis, I can only imagine. Just, you go home, it's hard, a hard day's work at times and many challenges, but I guess at the end of the day, it's worth it because you've made a difference in lives. And, this is a time and a season where we talk about the importance of mental health. We talk about taking care of ourselves. I'll always tell my team, you can't pour from an empty cup. And I think if we're real about it, the past 2.5, 3 years, it has been challenging for the those in the field of education. So many changes, and overnight how we've had to adjust. And it's kind of like the word of the year or the last few years has been pivot, right? You're going this way today, and then you've made all your plans, worked all weekend, and then sometimes come Monday, you have to pivot. And so I want both of you to your comfort level, to the extent that you're comfortable, to talk about just the idea of any advice that you would give to other teachers, because you're our teachers of the year, so you're doing it right. To a certain extent, I guess we're always learning, but you know what, you're like master teachers, right? You're really getting it done, and we're looking to you all to represent our school system. But when you think about any advice that you would give to other teachers who may feel burnt out or overwhelmed, and I know we're all still learning, so don't I know we're all there, but we'll start with Miss Smith and then Miss McGill. Just talk to us a little bit about any advice you would give to other fellow educators.
I laugh as you say that because I'm still trying to figure out that balance thing myself. But one of the things that I think is important is you have to have a team. Education is not a work that we can do individually. It has to be done collectively. So you have to have those support systems, whether it's your faith community, the teachers around, you got to have somebody that you can connect with, because there are days that are really tough and you need someone else that can listen and that you can share with. And then at the end of it all can say, okay, let's get moving. We can still move forward. And then remembering that it's okay to rest. Sometimes if you really love what you do, it's hard to rest. Like my mind's always going about what could I improve? What do I need to do next? But finding those moments just to sit and rest actually refuels you so that you can be better in the moments you need to be better in. And so I would just say, yeah, you got to find that team. You've got to connect with people that can help support you on the tough days. And then you got to sometimes rest. I often say rest, but don't quit. Like we got to take a break and then we need to regroup so that we can keep going forward.
Amen. You know, when I think about that, rest if you must, but just don't quit. You know, take a minute for yourself, but then you'll be better prepared to continue the journey. Very, very great advice to our educators out there. All right, Miss McGill, what do you have to say to our educators? What nuggets do you have to share about that?
The advice that I would give to new teachers or to anyone in the profession, I would tell them to definitely come on board with us. I would tell them we need you. You know,
Yes.
when you tell people you need them, they do a little extra, and so I would tell them that we definitely need them, and I would also just remind them to be that change that we want to see in this world. And if you think about it, we think about all these great people like doctors, lawyers, judges, superintendents, construction workers, all these people, they come through us first. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, what better way to make a difference in this world is to be a teacher. They all start through us. And what better way to change the world, to make an impact in so many little lives? And, you know, they grow on to do great things. And so we need that change in our world today. And so I would just tell them to be that change that we want to see in our world today, and encourage them each and every day. Let them know that things will get tough, you know, but you can do it. You can do it. And I have to remind myself of that every day. It's tough, but I can do it. And then I think about it, you know, I come in here each and every day and give my best. And that's the same thing that I would tell anybody else to do, to come in and do their best, and everything will be okay.
All right, that's awesome. And you heard it here to our viewing audience. We need you. So any
Yes.
teachers, educators, if you're interested in making a difference in the lives of young people, you have a place here, you know, at Cumberland County Schools. For those of you who may be joining us today, we're here with the phenomenal educators of Cumberland County Schools. We have our 2023 CCS Teacher and Beginning Teacher of the Year, and we're just very excited. So we want to kind of end on a lighter note. I know we just got talked, we know we were talking about being burnt out and whatever, but that's not all that comes with teaching. You know, it's hard work, but there are some lighter moments. There's some funny times. I'm sure working with young people and adults, there are times when you just have to laugh. And sometimes, you know, my wife would come home and tell me some stories and I'd be just almost on the floor laughing, but I was like, that is hilarious. But sometimes you have to laugh, right? It just helps you kind of get through the day. But I want both of you, if you have any funny teaching moments, if you think of your funniest teaching moment or something that you will always remember, please share that with us for the viewing audience. Ms. Smith, we'll start with you.
It's hard when you've been doing it for a long time. I was like, what am I going to share that's funny? But I'll share something actually that happened this week. And then last school year, I have a student that had a really tough school year. She lost her father in the middle of the school year, and it was just a tough year for her. And toward the end of the year, she said, Miss Smith, I'm going to do a Miss Smith impression. So it's during homeroom. I said, okay, go for it. And she's willing to cart around the room and holding her head out the door and say, hey, honey, how you doing? And apparently I stick my lips out when I'm focused. And so she had my little pose. And I said, I don't do that. She says, yes, you do, Miss Smith. So it was just really neat to see her impression. Because, you know, in elementary school, they'll imitate teachers. But for a middle school student to want to imitate that. And then there was another day where a young man and I had on the identical outfit. It was our spirit week. And I had on a yellow top and jeans. And he did too. But he wasn't embarrassed. He was excited. So that just did something for me. For a middle school young man to be excited that he's dressed like his teacher, I was like, okay, something's going well. And then if you guys don't mind, this week I got a message from a former student who's now in high school. I'm going to put it up because I don't want to read it wrong. And she sent me a message to congratulate me. And it says, your receival of the Teacher of the Year award was the utmost properly given award this century. And so some of the things just that they say is hilarious. And just that they would be moved on to high school and would take a moment to reach back. And she also shared in that email, you know, just let your students know that they're the luckiest students in the world. And I heard Ms. McGill say that when I can change the world and I can influence a student and influence a person where they're still thinking about that influence and now they want to reach out and help other people, that's the highlight. And so it's really funny sometimes when it's tough and you're not sure you're making a difference, And then you get these little nuggets that says, yes, you are. I remember this. And it might have been small to the teacher or to the educator, but the student is going, I remember that one moment. And that's a pivotal point for that student and their futures. And so those would be some of my highlights, just watching them kind of watch me do day to day. And it means a lot when they get to see you every day on the good days and the bad. And they still take away that positiveness and that dedication to move forward in their individual lives.
That is awesome. Awesome. Great stories. Thank you so much for sharing them. All right, Miss McGill, what do you have to share? Any funny moments or memorable moments?
When I think about one of my funniest moments, it would have to be last year, my third grade class. We were outside at recess, and I was actually trying to teach them how to play kickball. So I'm outside, we're outside, and I'm trying to teach them how to roll the ball, not too fast, not too slow, how to kick the ball, how to run through the bases. The kids, they were trying to teach them how to work together as a team, because they're all so competitive. They would kick the ball and just run clean past the bases. I'm just like, what are y'all doing? But they were so excited when they got back to home base. And I'm just like, okay, you made it to home base, but did you touch any one of those bases? And it was just so funny to me. And then there was one boy who kicked the ball and he ran all the way around the whole field. And the pitcher with the ball is running behind him, trying to hit him with the ball. And I was just like, oh my goodness. But they wanted to play again and again every day at recess. Can we play kickball? I'm like, not today, y'all. We're not gonna play. Y'all gonna get me sweaty. But they enjoyed it. They finally got the concept of how it goes. And so that was really one of my funniest moments. I will never forget that day. To see those kids just running around, not touching the base at all, but they enjoyed the game and they eventually got it. And so that was one of my teachable moments.
That is outstanding. Thank you both for sharing those memories with us, our viewing audience. We're almost to the end of our time together today, but I want to give both of you, Mrs. Smith and Ms. McGill, just an opportunity to have any closing remarks, anything that you want to share as we wrap up this segment. Just your thoughts in general on winning this prestigious award, or your thoughts for next steps for the future. Anything that you would like to share, you may share it at this time. We'll start with Mrs. Smith and then Ms. McGill.
I just want to share that it's humbling. I'm honored, but it's also humbling because I know how awesome so many of the other educators are and how dedicated they are. So it's very humbling to have received this. And I'm still kind of grasping with that a little bit, but it's just, it's almost, like I said earlier, it's a little surreal because Cumberland County really does have some of the best professionals that I've seen. They're creative, they're dedicated, they know how to reach students. And so I would just say that this can be tough. I tell teachers it's like a roller coaster. You just got to ride it. You have your highs and you have your lows. But what we do is important. Ms. McGill mentioned earlier about being change agents. And I always say we are the change agents for the nation. If you read history, if you look through history and the influence that educators have had, that's what we do. And we may not have known that when we started, but that's what we do. And so I would just, I'm grateful and I'm thankful to those that saw fit that I would be the 2023 Teacher of the Year. But I also want to encourage educators to hang in there because we can do this and we must do it. Somebody has to carry the torch and we have it. And so we've got to continue to do that. And so I'm just appreciative and I'm glad that I'm able to represent such an awesome group of educators.
I would just say I too am very humbled to receive this reward. I am appreciative and it's not just for me, it's just not mine. I share it with all the teachers of Cumberland County Schools. And I say thank you all to everyone who has helped me to get to this level. And this is our award, not my reward. So that's what I have to say. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited. I'm a little saddened because our time is coming to a close today. And this has just been a wonderful conversation to talk to our teacher and beginning teacher of the year. And I want to thank both of you ladies for everything that you do for our successful students and being role models for them as they go through their learning journeys. Congratulations again on winning the award. And I would like to just thank everyone, even in our viewing audience, for joining us today. Again, thank you for watching. I'm Lindsay Whitley, your host, and we will see you next time. Thank you.